Just so that I begin, I think I wanted to first of all define that the difficulty I have had with many people understanding what I do in this struggle has been because as a revolutionary and as a fighter, I think differently and I act differently. And I'm also aware of what we need to do to get where we want to be. And it is the force of that thinking, which sometimes I refer to and people refer to as a vision. It is the force of that thinking that pushes me to act in ways that sometimes people find or define as strange. And consequently, not being an intellectual and coming on a program like yours, I want to make it very, very clear from the very beginning that I do not have any intellectual or academic treatise to present to you. I just have a few common sense ideas that can help my people move forward towards freedom. So, and it is those ideas I'm coming here to share with you. That's basically what it is. So at the same time, you will have to bear with me that the reason sometimes I keep a lot of long periods of silence is because with your learning and understanding of how the West functions, you tend to believe that everything we talk about, we must have answers to questions that follow. I do not have them. And as a revolutionary, and as somebody with a mind for liberation, I'm also aware of one thing. Talking and trying to respond to issues on the spot does not help liberation. That is an attitude that is applied mostly by politicians, because politicians, you will notice, are people all over the world who even give answers to questions that have not been asked. So I avoid a situation where we end up talking too much and giving too much out there in the guise of trying to answer questions, because there will always be more questions than answers in the world. So I'm just simply saying, by the time I discuss this and come to its end, don't be surprised that you might have too many things I cannot answer to, and I don't apologize for that, because I'm also aware that the things we need to be doing are supposed to be done in the back room. This is the back room I've been crying about. And the reason I'm here today is to let all of us start learning that the things we say in public can come to haunt us. The questions we raise all the time and expect answers sometimes do the exact reverse. They get us the exact reverse of what we want to achieve. And if we do not learn from here henceforth that there are things we can listen to, there are talks we can listen to and take notes, then go back home and take our time to reflect on them, we might not be able to go very far as people seeking unconditional freedom. And if we want freedom as an enslaved people for over 60 years, we have to learn some tactics and learn how to move carefully. So that said, my main reason for accepting this invitation has been to reassert some of the basic truths about our struggle, that we are not courageous enough to face. So I want to look at some of those things, give you some of those basic truths, and let us know that there are ways in which we can do certain things in order to achieve a certain result. So the first thing I want to let you know is that I have been on the duty and on trying to find out how we can free ourselves, how we can overcome oppression for a very, very long time. I've been at it. That is why when I first got out here in 2018, I told you people that my bag was full. And that full bag has been sitting for 3 years and not been put to use, because I ended up discovering you were practicing a strange version of politics on the internet and not actually doing the struggle to relieve your people and get liberation for them. So when I discovered that, I don't like unnecessary arguments that take energy. When I see that, I withdraw, and then I begin to do what I believe that me, Wirba, can do to help those people who are being exterminated. That is my term for it, who are being exterminated. So I would also like you to know that throughout human history, there have always sometimes been men and women like me whose power of vision permits them to foresee things that their compatriots cannot see. There always are people like that. All right. And those things, no matter what I foresee for my people, no matter what I say to them, if they cannot see what I see, I cannot be able to help them. And there have always been people like that. So that you have such people who come once in a while in human life, they can easily see that their people can walk a certain route and get to freedom. And if those people are seeing a different thing, there is no way someone like that and someone like me can help them. And sometimes we'll begin to make this discovery when it is too late. Because it still hurts me that our people are under this amount of suffering, under this genocide, under an extermination. And the people who picked up the banner for the struggle in the diaspora see each other as rivals. Worst of all, see me as someone who is coming to take something from them. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. So it hurts. So as someone who can look at some of those things and analyze and conclude where we are going, it becomes a very, very huge problem. So my duty, ladies and gentlemen, my duty to the Southern Cameroonian people, to the Ambazonian people, to the unfortunate people who happen to have been forced into an uncertain future that we are now experiencing by the UN, by the British, by the tricks of the French. I owe those people who are you, who are me, who are people in the homeland, I owe my people only one thing, the truth. And whether that truth gets believed today or tomorrow or in 3 years or in 10, I keep repeating that truth because I am not standing by my people and that truth to get some advantage. I am standing on that truth so that it can set them free. That is the reason I keep repeating the same things. And when nobody listens, I go on and then start doing something else. So it is my responsibility to you people, to our people, to the Amazonian people, to keep telling them the truth, to keep pointing to them the direction of the hard road to freedom, because it is never easy. And I keep pointing that if you are going in the wrong direction, you will not get to that destination you wish. That is my duty. And that is why I'm here. That's why I keep repeating it. And it is my people's choice. From when I started giving this message, it is my people's choice either to see that vision that drives me and try to see what is in that vision so that we can galvanize ourselves towards freedom, or they can keep chasing the shadows they are doing. They can keep ignoring it, chasing the shadows they are chasing, which will lead us to nowhere. I am saying this because a lot of people are still in wonder. You people, some of you still keep asking me till today, how did you know that these things will come to happen? And I'm saying, I know our people. I have lived my whole life with them. I have listened to them. I have spoken to them. I have heard their pain. I have known their humiliation. And I can easily say what will happen when a whole nation is treated like that. And if I could be explaining what I did and fighting in La République's parliament, telling them what was coming ahead, it was because I knew my people. And it was because I have that rare ability to be able to say, hey, there is something coming there that could drown us. And if I said it and nobody listened, or being an oppressive government and no one cared, I should not care. Because now that the people of Ambazonia have risen, I still want to repeat both to my people and to the people of La Republique that they will never be brought down. Never. Not before the end of the world. They will never be brought down. And there is nothing they can do about that. And there is nothing I can do to help the people who could have solved the problem. That is one part. The other part is that as the person that I am, as a revolutionary and as a fighter and as a warrior, I have the rare courage that I can stand alone and pinpoint something that nobody believes in. And I would not worry whether they believe me or not. I can easily see that this is where it could end. And it could be a bad end. I can stand alone. Why? I can do that because I'm standing on the side of the truth. I am standing in defense of my people and not for anything that benefits me. Therefore, that's the reason I never follow the crowd. I follow the truth with the clarity of that vision, and I take my people's suffering seriously. That is why I can give my life and give my all, defending them and defending what we need today. It is a free nation for the Ambazonian people, and there is no turning back about it. I can defend that with my life. That said, I now want to raise a few points with you about where we stand in relation to our struggle for freedom. Before I go to anything else, I want to let our people know that our goal for total freedom, independence, is within our reach. We can get there if we want to get there. It is within our reach. Therefore, it is a goal that we can achieve. And it's a goal that will be ours to lose, not La Republique's to win, because they have nothing to hold on to. The lies they have built up for the past century is what has now come to crumble. And I want us to refocus on the fact that our goal for total freedom is within our reach and we can get there. That is a reassurance. Next, we had a meeting in Germany where the first statement I made was that I went there to make a wake-up call to our people. And I kept saying it is the last wake-up call because we are facing failure. And if we are doing anything and cannot be assessing the progress and cannot be telling ourselves that we are failing here or failing there, we can never be able to readjust to do what we need to do to get to where we want to be. Therefore, I want to repeat that last wake-up call, that it is the time is now to turn this struggle around. We do not have a choice. We just have to get it done. And how can we do that? We can only do that by making an effort to make an appeal to those who believe in the freedom of the Southern Cameroonian nation, in the freedom of the Ambazonian homeland. We need those who believe in it, because from my knowledge and my learning, from what happens in every country that went through what we are going through now, it is those who firmly believe in it. It is those believers who are not usually more than 3 to 5%. It is those believers who free their nations. And when they go down the road of liberation, they drag the rest of their people with them. It is never the crowd. So let's stop saying we need everybody. There is no way you can get everybody in order to do anything. What we need, as I stressed in Germany, is believers. Why am I saying this? When people believe in something, they give their all to it. The Amber Boys, the soldiers of liberation that we have, these young men and women who are standing and dying, they are standing because of their belief. They are standing every day. They kill their friends. They go bury and come back to the battlefield because they believe it. And those of us who are several thousand miles away are only believing in halves. We only believe in this struggle by half. That is why the struggle is not able to gain traction. Because if we believe like those frontline liberators who are standing and dying, we will be thinking differently, we will be acting differently, and we will be behaving differently. You would agree with me that all the divisions that have come, all the confusion that has been created, all the smoke that has been raised, has been because of one thing. There are more of half believers than the real believers in the freedom of the Amazonian homeland. And the call I made in Germany was simple. Your country cannot be liberated by the large crowds or the many people who are arguing and thinking of too many things. It is usually done by a handful of people, men and women who believe in their freedom. And I want to repeat, when any group of people, when any nation has believers, those believers give everything they have, including their lives. They give it in order to free their homeland. It is our faith. It is our will of steel. It is our strength and that will and determination that can take us where we want to go. That is the reason I want to raise with you today. Who are the people who believe in their freedom? They are the people who will take risks. They are the people who will do anything to get to where we want to be. And by getting anything, it includes losing your freedom. It includes going to jail. It includes escaping into exile. It includes putting in all your money, your savings, your earnings, putting in everything you have. If you do not believe it that way, why even start? Why? So in the calls to look for believers, there are now things we need to be doing together as a people. That is what brings me to the next thing we need to be discussing, which is we should be reminded of what Amazonian nationalism and patriotism represents. And that is where I would ask Dr. Mofo to help us to present the very first chart, something we produced for the occasion in Germany, which you can see there, because if we are to get to where we want to be, we have to do everything we are doing in honor of our people's blood. We have to be taking every action to honor their blood so that that blood should not go for free. That is why our topic for discussion in Stuttgart was the blood of every slain Amazonian cries out. We must hit their cries now with action. And what is that action? That action is about setting about doing these things in a way that would immediately gain traction and support the people standing up daily and fighting, giving them everything they need in order to get to where they want to be. And in order to do that, there are things we must start building gradually as we go. There are things we must start doing gradually as we go. One of those things is going to be Atomochia. One of those things we are going to do, to be able to do, is going to be teaching our people how to believe in themselves, how to love their own country, how to love Amazonia, because that is the question. That is why I raised this chart, to be able to ask, How much do any of us love this country we want to take from slavery? How much? Because people die defending their loved ones. Parents die defending children. Men die defending their wives. Wives die defending their children, defending their husbands. This is how it's supposed to be. What about the nation? The nation of Ambazonia needs you. It needs me. It needs all of us. What about our commitment? What is our love for that country? And if our love for that country is not complete, then we cannot be good believers. And if we are not true believers, we cannot go anywhere. Therefore, the concept of who, like we asked in Germany, who amongst us are the people who can put their arm and their leg to be cut because they are desperate to have Ambazonian freedom? Anyone who qualifies as that person is the kind of person we need to be talking to in the back room, because those are the people who give their everything. People who want us sitting here and talking and answering questions and saying how these things will be or will not be, they are the politicians. They want the glory of satisfaction of the fact that they answered a certain question well and people clapped. That does not take liberation 2 steps further. It never does. So these are the things we need to be looking at. These are the issues we need to be facing. And that is why we brought this up. We could go to the next one, Dr. Mofo. Yes. Now we come to this chapter that we put up, which we call the path to freedom. And I had this simple explanation to give to this. Using the globe, we were trying to demonstrate what we are doing to the struggle. When you see to your left the red X, which is there, it is that instead of us moving like the earth moves in a particular direction, we are moving, which is clockwise, we are moving anti-clockwise. Why? Because instead of rising up and planning and working and executing a movement for liberation, we have gotten up, created political parties, created governments, created little groups we think we can use to influence the rest of the movement, and are now dragging the struggle. You see the red spears directly in the opposite direction. And the star you see up there, that is the Ambazonian star shining at the very top of the Fako mountain. That is our destination. We don't have any other destination other than this. And all the struggles and all the quarreling and the fighting and people pulling in different, the politics that have been going on, it is dragging us in exactly the opposite direction. If we do not learn that for 5 years of talking and doing what I call internet politics, which cannot help anybody, and I can call it that way conveniently because I have done the rotten, hard, cruel politics of the third world for 35 years. I have been in it. Half of my adult life, half of my whole life, I have been in it. And when I have been through that and realized that it couldn't work, that is why I moved to the next stage, which was the revolutionary. And if politics could help us, and what the CNUs and the CPDMs and the SDFs have done cannot help us, how can the version of internet politics take us away from slavery? It cannot. It cannot. So whatever terms people like to use in order to attach to what they are doing, they are talking, they are paying lip service to liberation. They are not doing liberation. Because one, liberators give. If it is their knowledge, they give everything. If it is their money, they give everything. If it comes to the supreme sacrifice, give their lives to get freedom, liberators give it. Therefore, every other thing that does not put its focus to set a foundation to what can relieve us, will not help us. It will not. So this is what we need to be doing. There's a destination we are following. And I mean, we are supposed to be going to. And for the most part, we are going in the opposite direction and only claiming that we are doing it, we are doing it. All right, let's move to the next one. And it is from there. Now, as you can see here, on this path to freedom, we did this simple analysis, which is that, as I said then, and I want to repeat now, in the School of Freedom, Ambazonia, there is only one pass mark, and that pass mark is 100%. In the School of Freedom, there is no difference between scoring 0% and 99.9% because both are fails. There is no difference. So there is no way you can say that you have gone 70%, so it's good enough. It is not true. In the School of Liberation, there is one pass mark, and that one pass mark is 100%. And the efforts we have put for the last 6 years, the calculations I have done, and matched it with what other nations did to get to freedom, we are between 8 and 12%. We are between 8 and 12%. That's a mountain to climb. When would we reach 50? So if we do not look at these practical things and start looking at a way of relieving ourselves, weaning ourselves of the fanfare and going into the back rooms and doing the business of freedom and doing the business of liberation, we will not be able to get there. Because, I repeat, in the School of Liberation, there is only one pass mark, and that pass mark is 100%. In the School of Liberation, there's no difference between 0 and 99 because both are fails. And in that School of Liberation, you need to reach 100, and sometimes you need to reach 100 and then get to 150. Your example is simple. Look at what is happening to Ukraine. Because you can actually get a free country and somebody walks into it and say you won't be free. So if you don't have the backbone and the energy and the will to fight it back, even your 100% might not be enough. It is something we need to learn. It is something we need to be conscious of. There is no way you can do it halfway and get there. If our purpose is to be driving for the freedom of our homeland, which I can tell you is mine, which I can tell you I have met a few people whose objective it is, we will start doing the things that can take us to that place. That is why these charts were produced for our people, so that you begin to assess where we are and begin to ask yourself the hard questions. So, Mochio and Edmond, as I was saying, as my hosts, I want us asking ourselves questions rather than others. I want us asking ourselves questions and answering. Where are we going to? What is it we have achieved? In 1 year, in 2 years, in 3? What is it we need to be doing? If these answers are not there, I mean, if these questions are not there to ourselves, and the issue is, you know, people just talking, creating impressions, talking about this and that, left, right, and center, it doesn't take us anywhere. So this is where I am saying, patriotism, our patriotism, can we be reminded? Can we be reminded that nationalism and patriotism is not fanaticism? Because I have seen very, very clearly that for those who have never even done practical politics, who are learning it because of the struggle, they now believe that their practice of fanaticism is equal to patriotism. It is not true. It is exactly the same thing that is going on back home. It's exactly the same thing that has brought us to where we are, where people confuse being fanatics for being patriots. Where, like back home in La République du Cameroon, the patriotic person is defined as the person who supports the president and the president's party. That is nonsense. That's not patriotism. Now you have come out here. People have formed their political groupings. They have formed their political parties. They have formed their different governments. And they are now saying, if you are not loyal to government A or government B or group B or group Y, if you are not loyal to them, then you are not loyal to the cause. It is not true. They are not the same things. They are not the same things. Patriotism demands that you love your country enough you can stand and die for it. And that is one of the most destructive things that are coming to this struggle, because as I explained in Germany, I know from my little knowledge of psychology, I know what group loyalties mean, and I know what they can do to destroy a system. If you people have been doing the follow-up of all that's been happening for the last 5 years, you would realize that we have broken up into different camps, different governments, different groupings, and people are now paying their greatest loyalty is to those groups, is to those branches of their governments, rather than to the Amazonian cause and the Amazonian flag. It is something we must work to end, because every people who want freedom put their loyalty on one thing. The gold, the star that I was showing you, that is sitting on top of the Fakon mountain, that is supposed to be our target. That is supposed to be where we all should be looking to, rather than looking at what do we get? What is my group doing? What is this other one doing? Those things cannot help us move us forward. They simply cannot. That is why I suggested that from now on, and we have begun the process, we need to start the building of national symbols. The symbols that should be associated to the Amazonian cause. We already have the flag, which is a standard. That is what we should be dying for. We already have an anthem, which is a standard. That is what we should hold to defend ourselves with as people who want liberation. Now, the new element that we introduced was the solemn pledge. It is something I learned from other countries, because it is like people who get into a system and they are taking an oath. So on that solemn pledge, it just goes, it's simple. The Amazonian solemn pledge says, upon the blood of every slain Amazonian, we each stand and pledge to fight with everything it takes to liberate our beloved homeland. If we love Amazonia and take this to be our cardinal role to pledge at every single thing we do to the Amazonian blood that has been running, I believe we will build around it and begin to go in that direction. Because I'm seeing our people building different kinds of things, objectives that are, promoting more the organizations they have formed, the little groupings they are sitting in or controlling. They are focusing more on that than what concerns the Amazonian nation, the Amazonian flag, the Amazonian anthem. So it is one of those things we're going to do. Then we'll be building towards a national slogan. We'll be building liberation songs. And as we go ahead, we will be building more and more things around which we can gather, because this is the way liberation movements work. And if there is nothing else I can do to help my people see what I see, the only thing I can do now is to keep pointing in this direction, like I have told you, where I believe that the cause for freedom is. Now, in order for us to get to where we want to be, I said it in 2019, January, at the book launch in London. I told our people the missing link in all we are doing is organization. And I told them that whether we organize the struggle in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years, or in 10, we will organize it before it works. And whether we believe it or not, no movement gets traction without thorough, proper organization. And it is in that organizational process that we build the foundation on which the struggle can rest. That is the essence. building a foundation. Organizing your movement simply means you set a foundation on which that movement will stand and strive. You build a foundation on which it will progress. You build a foundation on which it can stand firmly. Why am I stressing on this? I'm giving this stress because from my observations, I've been talking about the foundation all the time and giving you people an analogy that you choose with a lot of intelligence to begin building your own house from the roof. That is why a stolen nation like the Amazonian nation could suddenly have governments and presidents. Now there are 5 governments, then there are a multitude of presidents, without setting the foundation on which that roof can sit. Because in normal movements, the governmental part is usually the tail end of a revolutionary movement. The governmental part is usually at the end of a liberation movement. Therefore, we now have to begin the process, setting it in our minds, changing our mindsets, and moving in this direction that we need to set a foundation on which the liberation struggle can strive. And how do we set that foundation? We now have what we put out there, which is, if you are in a revolution from where we started, and you have now moved from the revolutionary to the liberational, then you should be moving in that direction and calling the names of the things you want to achieve. Therefore, the revolutionary committees for the liberation of Amazonia should be the foundation on which we begin setting this. It's a very simple concept. For those of you who are students of history, you can go back and read what the ANC did. You can go back and find out what movements like SWAPO did, what ZANU-PF did in then Rhodesia to overcome oppression. These are the things they did. They created around the nation, around all over the world. They created little tiny units of their movement. You create little units with those who believe in freedom. And a unit can even be 3 people. It can be a family. It can be a group of friends. It can be 10. It can be 5. It can be 7. It can be 20. But it is never a team of hundreds of people. When you create those units and they spring up all over, there is no way even your own enemies, who are your oppressors, can take that away from you. That's why I've been trying to repeat that. What I'm trying to do in my own little effort is to show my people the road to that thing that they all are crying for. And there is no way you can want to achieve something that is in the north and you are going south and claiming that you will get there. So these are the things we need to be doing. These are the units we need to be setting. And once we start doing that and bringing in one class of people, believers, because believers in a cause are those who don't question the validity of that cause. That's what believers do. That's why religions are surviving for thousands of years. Because believers do not question why they are doing a certain thing in their religion or in the name of their saviors or in the name of their prophets or in the names of whatever. If you do not have such strong belief in the liberation of your own homeland, that it can be stronger and even beyond religion, then you are fooling the rest of us. Because this is not something you can do part-time. This is not something you can do casually. If we start bringing in believers into these little units, I tell you, we will move fast. We will move quickly, and we will be able to liberate our homeland. It is a way to go. It is easy to do. It is not something you need to, you need to go a long way to be able to do. 3 friends can just set up and say, if all we can do is to, in order to liberate Amazonia, is to pull in 3 of us together. We only have one objective. The objective is, let's start pulling in the funds that can strengthen the movement and the fighting forces in the homeland to stand up to oppression. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. That is all we need. That is all we have to do. Once we are able to be setting up units of believers, we pull it away. When I am talking and people are doubting, for those who are Christians, if Christianity has survived the last 2,000 years, it is because Jesus Christ put together a team of 12 guys. That's all. And the message Christians receive today is because 12 people joined the original person who, brought this to mankind to say, hey, here is something. 12 people stood with him. And 2,000 years after, we are sitting here today. And a lot of those religions, they rule the world. So these are the things we need to be doing. What we need here is what you Christians refer to as disciples. We need the disciples for the Amazonian cause who can come into these committees, build them up around the world, and we take on our oppressors. I am stressing on this because I've been telling the various teams I'm working with. And by the way, after Stuttgart, we are 1 month down the road. The 14th will be in 2 days. We're 1 month down the road. And the committees have started coming up. The discussions have begun because the people who see it, as I see it, they have actually said the believer theory is the thing we need to do. Because if you don't have people who believe in it, why should they even be doing it? Why should they put their money? Why should they take risks on behalf of it? So this is exactly what we need to be doing in order to get to where we want to get to. And I would think that for today, this is the short format of the discussion I wanted to have with my people through the town hall to let them know. Already, there are numbers here: Africa and the Middle East, the Americas, Europe and Asia, people who are seeing a little bit into this vision. They already have begun coalescing. They are coming into teams. They are calling. They are sending numbers. They are asking questions about what they need to be doing. So that is why in talking here, I was stressing to you people that one of the things you avoid when you are doing liberation, when you are talking of revolution, is sitting somewhere where people will go coin of questions I asked you and ask you, because I don't have answers. I don't have them. The point is, the place where people who want freedom ask and answer questions is where they have now gathered their liberation forces together. And those forces are who? When you bring your liberation committees together and you are putting down strategies because they are believers, there are things they can raise about what they need to be doing and you answer. It is never for this kind of public forums. Never. So that is my suggestion. That is what I put out to my people. That is that hard road that I am pointing, because a lot of people already were saying, oh, it will be so difficult. Oh, people are divided into this group and that group. How will it happen? And I said, no, that's not how it works. Or others are telling me it is the same thing that has been done before. It's a lie. It's not been done. It's not the same thing. Why? For one simple reason before I conclude. What all the groupings have said are political foundations. And a political foundation cannot take the weight of a liberation movement. It cannot take the weight. I've been giving this example. We need to build a 100-story building in Sopo Boya. We need to build a 100-story building in Sopo Boya, for example. And then someone is suggesting that they have had a 2-story building. What is the use for us doing another foundation for a 100-story building when they had done a 2? That's what they are suggesting. If you build on it, it must crash. It must collapse. So that's why I'm saying all the other structures that have been set were set for political purposes, not for the purposes of liberation. If we now want liberation, if we have not realized that 5 years of internet politics has not taken us further where we wanted to be, then we won't be able to do what will be there to help us, because we have to analyze. After those 5 years, our analysis and the clarity with which I speak today, there are things I couldn't say yesterday because I was still believing somehow that there were many, many people who believed in it wholly, who would not want to get anything from it, even if it is their self-aggrandizement, who would not want any benefit from it. But as soon as it became clear to me that these were just the regular political parties, these were just the regular things that people want, people loyal to them rather than to the Amazonian struggle. People want people loyal to their groups rather than to the cause of the Amazonian people. I now took this course that I will have to deliberately begin to point you, Amazonia, to the direction where freedom is gotten. And that direction has one word: organization. If you organize it, you get there quickly. If you do not, you'll be running around in circles for a very, very long time, and you stand a huge chance of failing. To conclude, I want to go back to where I began, which is that our goal of total freedom from these brutal people in La République du Cameroon, from this evil regime that is exterminating our people, our goal of that freedom is within our reach. If we do not achieve it, it would be because we have chosen collectively as a people that we want to fail. It is within our reach. And I believe firmly, as a believer in freedom and as a fighter, I believe we can do it. Immediately we start putting this organizational approach together, we will do it. It is doable. It is ours to take, and we will take it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, our very dear Honorable Joseph Wirba. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak to your people. You embody a lot for our people. I know you think, and I know you do, but sometimes our human limitations created by God do not allow us to see the depth of certain things he doesn't want us to know. Last town hall, when we had Ambassador Tibor Naj, one of our brothers called from home, and I know you know this, and he said, here back on ground zero, Honorable Wirba is a hero. So a lot of people look up to you. We thank you for coming. We thank you for taking the time. And we thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Yes, this town hall, we've tried to make it a platform for all Southern Cameroonians to come together and discuss. We sacrifice every 2 weeks, open it to the globe. We thank SCBC for carrying this so that people on ground zero are following you on SCBC, on Facebook, and your message is hitting the ground and resonating.
Thank you.
Yes. So we would like to, for people who have heard your message, to stay on the message and maybe may have questions, maybe a little bit more clarification, maybe some things you may have wanted to touch on but may have escaped your mind, just to move us forward. We are appealing to everybody that let us stay on focus, let us stay on the message, Today, the Honorable Joseph Wirba came to speak to us about his vision, what we need to do, what it takes for us to get to where we want, and the form and shape and mindset we must have if we want to achieve what we say we are fighting for. So let us keep our questions on point, and I would turn over to the Secretariat if they have questions or something. But again, let us stay on the message. Let us not dilute it. Let us not get distracted. Honorable, I would start with a question that was asked in the chat. I know you were speaking and you couldn't see the chat, which I think is a very pertinent question. One thing people would want to know beyond the setting of the committees, people will want them to know what's next, what's the mission of the committees, where do we go? For example, I'm here in the US and I want to create a committee in New Jersey, and I'm talking to our people here around me. Let's create a revolutionary committee. What is it? What do we do? What are the steps? Is that something you could give us in a few minutes? Beyond the creation of the committees.
It's straightforward. Yeah, no, it is straightforward. It's a straightforward thing. One, because we have asked for believers, not just saying our compatriots. We have asked for believers. Those who believe in the freedom of the homeland, they form those committees. Number one. Then the next stage is, if we call for the formation of committees and other people have started, and the people who have not formed a committee are asking for what happens beyond that committee, then they are not the right people who will do the job. Because the formation of the committee, you have heard that you want to set a foundation for a house. And your first question is, you want to know how the walls are going to look, or the paint that will go on the house. That is not the spirit of the people who want to set a foundation. And that's why I'm saying, now that we have started setting committees, those people who saw the committee, the foundation theory that we are proposing as a way forward, began by doing what? They said, okay, if we can do a committee of 3, I have 3 believers here, we have already formed ours. When they come into their first meeting and their question is, can you tell us where we go next? That is why we have those numbers there. You start talking to those people. Why? Because this tendency of sitting and explaining everything, oh, it will be like this and like that. I have told you it is a political thing. Revolutionaries don't do that thing. They don't do it. Because at the time I'm explaining here to you to satisfy a curious Amazonian, the enemy is taking notes and then sending you his friends to come and sit in that committee. Have a committee first, then ask your question from the committee. We'll be talking. That is the back room I'm referring to. That is the back room. I'm insisting that in the back room.
Thank you. So, Honorable, we have a format where it is up to you. You are the guest, yes, where we take a number of questions just to shorten time. I don't know if you want to take one question at a time or if you want to take a couple of questions and then answer them together.
If I don't want any, what do you do to me? Yeah, what do you do to me? Because this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And I'm saying, even in town hall, the mindset has to change. It is not everything that is said that serious people want to be asking questions about. If I wouldn't answer, what will you do?
Nothing. That's why I said it's your call.
What I'm saying is, we need to get more serious. After this message, you know, when we finished from Germany and I let the lengthy message out there, it took some people a week. It took some people 2 to get back to say, after listening again, I think that this is what we need to start doing. And the person who has just listened for 1 hour has not had 5 minutes to wait. they have a question. I'm not answering.
Okay.
Questions for revolutionaries are answered in the back room. So if I don't answer, you people should never invite me. I won't come. We need to be thinking like people who want a free country, rather than people who want to satisfy people's curiosities. Because sometimes I talk and I get emotional about these things because we started with the blood of our people that is flowing. The blood cries out. Are we hearing? Mochua, are we hearing their cry? Are we hearing that cry and spending time trying to say, I have question B, I want to know where this one would be? Are we hearing that cry? Anyone who hears the cry of the Amazonian blood, shut your mouth with a question, go home, set up a committee, ask us in the back room what that committee is supposed to do to liberate your people. We'll answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable. I think it's your platform, it's your show. We are very liberal, you know. We're not here to impose or direct or dictate, you know. So
no, I quite understand, and that's why I'm saying if we come here every day, I've been repeating this. If we think that we will keep doing the same things the same way and get different results, we will not succeed. That is why even with town hall, even with anybody, there would be a difference in that there can always be one person who can say no. And you know me very well. I'm one of those people who can say no very conveniently and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a message from me. I have taken my time to give it to our people. I want them to work on that message. In fact, the numbers we have given there, anybody who had really anything serious that can help this struggle should go to those numbers and start asking the questions. Because there are people waiting at that end in order to be able to, you know, do the things that matter in order for us to get to where we are, you know, where we are going to. So it's an important element.
Okay. All right, so we would ask Dr. Mofo if he wants to put those questions again on, the numbers on the screen.
Yes.
So that people who had not taken down the numbers could
can you
take
help?
them. Yes.
Can you help?
Yes. Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. 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 We now see it on the screen. The Africa and Middle East number, a 234. We see the Americas, a 240. We see Europe and Asia, a 49 number. So we have all heard the Honorable Joseph Wirba. He has told us, let us digest the message he has given us today. Let us set up our committees, and they would start working from those who are serious and show commitment through those numbers.
Point of correction there. Believers.
Believers, sorry.
Believers. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Believers.
Believers are those who stand and die. Those are the people we want to be talking to.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, you know, you might think that I get, but you know.
Oh no.
That is.
No, you're honorable. I am very happy with your dimension and with what you are doing and with what you are saying. We need to know that it's a different spirit. It's not business as usual. We are fighting for a free country, and everybody is not going to be spoon-fed or pampered or cajoled or egos smooshed, right? We have to have that open mind that it's going to be rough and tumble along the way. And if we are not ready to strap our boots and, you know, put on the rugged clothes and fight this fight, then we are not ready. We don't want to be pampered.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And I think
after the long periods of observation, I came to the conclusion that the true believers are the people who will deliver this to the Amazonian suffering people. Absolutely.
So I think, thank you, Honorable I think it is fair for those who have raised their hands and for the town hall to realize that it is the town hall policy, and we always remind everybody that this is a public platform. Nobody should say anything in this platform that would help the enemy. And so I would say that the Secretariat will concur with Honorable's decision. This, in a liberation struggle, in war, you know, the Ngumba House gave for day, and talk for Ngumba House, no be talk for public. This is a public forum. This is aired on TV. And Honorable has said that the final points of his plan will be in the Ngumba House. So if those who want to enter the Ngumba House, and you will know.
That's all.
So I think that is consistent. There are some hands raised. If the hands are for general discussion, thoughts, comments, but nothing that goes into or asks the Honorable about any details of his plan, I think it is fair for us to take the hands. If it's okay with you, Mr. Moderator, I think the order on my screen is Manasta, Jojo Ambaso, and then
if it's honorable with if it's okay with honorable, because honorable wants his message to stay the focus. You know, honorable is our guest.
Yes. No, I have told you repeatedly, I do not want to sound rude. I've told you repeatedly that until our minds change, we need a mind switch to move from one thing to the other, which is until we stop believing that when we sit somewhere and talk and answer 50 questions, we are advancing liberation. We have to stop it. And I am doing it by example. And I'm saying this is not the place for it. That is why when I get to talk and people ask me questions that I find difficult to start, either sounding rude to them, I become a very dull gentleman. I don't remember anything. I just sit and listen to you. Yes, because the cause of my people is more important to me than anything else. The success of that cause is more important to me than anything. And that is why the people we are inviting, who should be sitting in that back room, Edmond Motia, you know, the gentleman, the Secretariat, I do not have your name. I just want to make this very, very clear. I come from a warrior culture, and the rules are usually simple. When the horn of war is blown, every man goes to where he keeps his gun, cleans it, and goes to the mahjong house. You can never knock the door of a warrior to say, what are you still doing in bed? It's never done. It's never done. That's why I'm saying people who know what will go in, who are those believers, they will take this message and start working on it, like those in Germany who came and didn't went and start working on it. And those who came from other countries are now beginning to propose that maybe they should be setting up their own committees and wait for me to come and enter their own Ngumba house. Let us tie the things. That is what I want to be hearing. Not that, you know, hands are up and hands are down. That is not liberation. We have to begin. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. And you're always welcome. You're always welcome, Honorable. Yes. We don't take anything personal here.
And
no, I know. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't
if
be.
I may just
it shouldn't be. So
yes.
Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate it. I have been seeing the effort you've been putting. And one of the things I'm hoping is that someday I'm going to have the whole of the town hall in a Ngumba house where I can maybe hug you or pull your ears a little. No one should know that. So I'm hoping that that moment will soon come. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
By God's grace. You're welcome. You're honorable. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Wirba.
Thank you very much. Thank you.